I'm David Bodorf, Executive Director of the Association of Indiana Counties. Thanks for joining us today. And with us today is Earnie Holtrey, and Earnie works for the Indiana Broadband Office. Ernie, how long have you been with the Broadband Office?
Been with the Broadband Office for 3 years now. Prior to that, I was with Oak, where the Office of Community Rural Affairs, out in the field as a community liaison for 2 years.
Okay. I know you have a lot of great information for local units of government who are interested in broadband development and some ways that they can go about ensuring that the FCC map has the correct data. So if you could tell us about that, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. For years and years, the FCC map has been the primary go-to source for making decisions on grant funding, both at the federal and here in Indiana at the state level. And we have heard numerous complaints over the years about the inaccuracies within the map. As we would say, the old map was at the census block level, not the address level, and it did not allow for an area to be funded if one single household had quality coverage in that census block. That negated the entire census block from being covered or being able to apply for grant funding at the state or federal level. For the first time ever, we now have an opportunity to change that. With this one-pager that we've put together at the Indiana Broadband Office, it will walk the residents through step-by-step instructions on how to challenge the FCC map that we're calling the new map to make improvements to this map for the spring and summer versions that will come out in 2023. We have the opportunity to fix data on the map at two different levels. The first level is the broadband serviceable location level. Is your house on the map? Is the dot in the right place on the map? Or is your business on the map? Is it in the right place? If not, or if it's not on there at all, you have the ability through some simple drop-down menus on the FCC site to lodge a challenge and to state that your address or your business either is not contained or not in the right location on your street or road. Secondly, we have the ability to challenge the provider data and the speeds that they have provided as their maximum advertised speeds available to your address. If those are inaccurate, you have the ability again to click your dot on the map, select your provider, and document that the service that is shown on this new FCC map is not accurate in compared to what you receive in the real world in your household or in your business.
Great information, Ernie. How time sensitive is this that residents take advantage of this opportunity?
That's a great question. We have a hard and fast deadline right now with the FCC of January 13th. That deadline is for us to challenge the provider speed data down to the address level, individual by individual, as well as the state making effort to do a bulk challenge of locations that we notice that are incorrect as well. That January 13th deadline will be the decision-making deadline for data that will determine the dollar amount that Indiana will receive for funding through the IIJA monies. As many of you know, the BEAD program has $42.5 billion in it. That's almost exclusively for broadband build out into our communities, the construction projects themselves. The math is very simple. The number of unserved areas, according to the FCC map in Indiana, that number is divided into the number of unserved locations in the country. And whatever percentage that is the percentage that Indiana will receive of the $42.5 billion. We think right now as it stands, we may get $600 million here in Indiana specific for broadband build out, but every dot that we can have added to the map could be $5,000 to $10,000 more that Indiana can receive to build out quality infrastructure in and across Indiana.
Great. This is a great process. Of course, nobody wants to overbuild in an area that already has service, but this challenge actually will help each community make sure that if they're underserved, they'll be able to identify that and get this additional money.
Exactly. Know that we're here at the Indiana Broadband Office to help you with these tools. As you'll scroll through this 1 or 1.5 pager, you'll see some QR codes at the bottom of the screen. We have a great article from Dr. Roberta Gallardo up at the Purdue Center for Regional Development. They've been a great partner with the state for years. He wrote a blog on how to navigate this challenge process. The FCC did a short YouTube video, so we have a link to that on the QR codes. We have a link directly to the map. And then a couple others are a fact sheet and the press release from the FCC. So one thing I like to stress is this is a FCC mandate from federal congressional legislation. We're all very frustrated in how this map currently looks. Congress tasked the FCC with creating this map 2 years before the BEAD program came about. So we're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with the rules and requirements that Congress gave the FCC to create the map and then use it to calculate our funding for the BEAD programming.
Good deal. Well, thanks. This information is so critical. We urge the counties to share this information with their broadband development partners like chambers of commerce, economic development directors, schools, small towns. I would share it with your community foundation, and just make sure that the public knows that this challenge is available to them. And by taking advantage of it, it's more likely they'll have more money for broadband development.